Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Picture this. You're easing into your morning at 70-something. The sun's just starting to peek through the blinds, and you're ready to roll into your day like you've done 1,000 times before. Maybe with that trusty mug of coffee steaming in your hand, the TV humming with the morning news, or your phone buzzing as you scroll through whatever popped up overnight. You've got your routine locked down tight, a rhythm that's carried you through decades. And it feels like home, right? Well, pump the brakes for just a second, because today we're diving into something you might not have seen coming, morning habits that could be quietly working against you after 70. Yep, those little rituals you've been rocking forever, the ones that feel like old friends, might be sneaking up on you, nibbling away at your energy, your joints, your mood, maybe even your long-game health in ways you'd never guess. But don't start sweating it. I'm not here to guilt-trip you or demand you toss your whole morning out the window before you've even rubbed the sleep from your eyes. Oh no, this is about shining a light on 5 sneaky habits that could be doing you dirty. And here's the part you'll love, handing you 5 simple, no-fuss fixes to turn your day around and set you up for a healthier, stronger, more vibrant you. This isn't about chasing some impossible perfect morning. It's about tweaking what's already yours to keep you thriving well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. So grab your go-to drink, settle into your favorite spot, and let's have a real chat about how to make your mornings work for you, not against you. If you're already hooked on where this is going, drop a quick one in the comments. I'd love to know you're here riding this wave with me. Let's start with a morning staple that feels like a warm hug from an old buddy. Chugging coffee first thing. No hesitation, no questions asked. You stumble out of bed, eyes half open, shuffle to the kitchen, hit that brew button, or maybe you've got the fancy machine that's been your sidekick for years, and down that rich, dark goodness like it's the only thing keeping the world from spinning off its axis. It's your wake-up call, your jolt of life, the magic that turns you from groggy to, I've got this. You've been doing it forever, and it's worked like a charm. Perks you up, gets your brain firing, makes you feel like you can tackle anything. But here's the twist. After 70, slamming that coffee on an empty stomach might be stirring up more trouble than it's worth. That caffeine hits your system like a lightning bolt, spiking your blood sugar and pumping out stress hormones like cortisol when your body's still waking up from the night shift. Instead of a smooth lift, you might end up jittery, wired, or even a little queasy, especially if your stomach's been empty since dinner. Over time, that acid brew can irritate your gut lining, mess with your digestion, and, here's the kicker, potentially leach calcium from your bones if you're not balancing it with enough nutrients, which isn't great when your skeleton's already working hard to keep you steady. Think about George, 72, a guy who'd swear by his coffee-first rule since his factory days in the 70s. He'd pour a big mug, sip it black while the house was still quiet, and feel ready to roll. But lately, he'd noticed something off. By 9 a.m., his hands were shaky, his stomach growled like it was mad at him, and his energy would tank before he even got to lunch. He shrugged it off as just getting older, but when he mentioned it during a checkup, his doc gave him the straight talk. George, your body's not 30 anymore. It needs a buffer before that caffeine freight train. The fix wasn't rocket science. Swap that empty stomach coffee for a glass of water first. It hydrates you after hours of sleep, wakes your system gentle-like, flushes out the cobwebs. Then, pair your brew with a bite. Maybe a slice of toast with peanut butter, a banana, a handful of nuts, something to cushion the hit. George gave it a shot, sipped water while the coffee brewed, then ate a quick oatmeal bowl with his mug. Within days, the shakes were gone, his stomach quit complaining, and his energy held steady through the morning. No crash, no burn. Next time you're reaching for that coffee pot first thing, try this. Pour a glass of water instead. Take a few slow sips, let it settle. Then brew your cup and grab a little something to go with it. See how it shifts your start from rocky to rock solid. Now, let's roll into something you might not even blink at. Sitting too long right after you wake up. You peel yourself out of bed, shuffle to the living room, and plop down, maybe with that coffee in hand, flipping on the morning news to see what's what, or pulling up a chair to read the paper like it's your sacred ritual. It feels cozy, a soft landing into the day, especially if your knees are creaking or you're not exactly a rise and shine type. Maybe you've earned it after years of early alarms and hustle. Your time to chill, right? But here's the sneaky downside. After 70, lingering in that seat too long, first thing can stiffen you up worse than you'd think, slow your blood flow, and zap your energy before you've even had a chance to get moving. Your muscles and joints need a wake-up call after being still all night. Sitting locks them in place, tightens things up, and over time, that habit can make you feel stiffer than a board. Even nudging up your risk for stuff like blood clots, back pain, or that sluggish feeling that dogs you all day. Picture Mary, 74, a woman who'd turned her morning sit-down into an art form. She'd park herself in her recliner with a cup of tea, the TV humming the weather report on repeat, scrolling through her phone to check on the kids' updates. Her me time, she called it. But then she'd stand up after an hour, and it was like her body forgot how to work. Knees groaning like rusty hinges, lower back tight as a drum, energy nowhere in sight. She figured it was just age creeping in, but her physical therapist saw it different. Mary, you're letting your body hibernate too early. It needs to move to wake up. The fix wasn't some grueling workout, just a little motion before she sat. 5 minutes of shuffling around the house, maybe some arm swings while the kettle boiled, a gentle stretch by the sink to loosen her hips. Mary started pacing her living room during the tea brew, tossing in a few shoulder rolls, even a slow march in place while she waited for her toast to pop. Before long, she was standing taller, feeling looser, and her day kicked off with a spark instead of a sputter. She even ditched the mid-morning nap she'd started leaning on. Tomorrow morning, before you sink into that couch or chair, give this a whirl. Take a quick lap, around the kitchen, down the hall, out to the mailbox if you're feeling it. Swing your arms a bit, roll your shoulders, wake those joints up. Feel how it shakes off the rust and lights a little fire under your day without wearing you out. It's like a secret weapon you didn't know you had. Here's one that's tricky because it feels so productive, like you're winning the day. Jumping straight into chores or stress the second your feet hit the floor. You pop awake, and boom. Your brain's off to the races. Gotta water the plants before they wilt, call the plumber about that drip, answer that email from yesterday, fix the grandkid's toy that's been sitting on the counter. You're up and at it, lugging the laundry basket, bending over the sink to scrub last night's dishes, hauling trash cans to the curb, before your body's even had a chance to blink, or your coffee's had time to cool. After 70, that instant leap into action can hit you harder than you'd think, straining muscles that are still cold from sleep, spiking your stress levels when your system's barely booted up, leaving you frazzled and achy by mid-morning. Your cortisol's naturally high when you wake. Piling on more chaos right away can throw your whole body out of whack, draining your energy tank, jacking up your blood pressure, even making your joints grumble louder than they need to. Think of Tom, 71, a guy who'd bolt out of bed like a man on a mission, straight to the garage to tinker with his old Chevy, out to the driveway to wrestle the trash bins, or into the yard to yank weeds before the sun got too hot. He'd tell his wife, "Gotta get ahead of it," proud of his hustle. But then, he'd spend the day feeling it. Shoulders tight, lower back barking, snapping at her over nothing because he was wiped by noon. He figured it was just how mornings go now, until his doc sat him down. "Tom, you're hitting the gas before your engine's warm. Give it a minute." The fix was simple. Ease in with a calm buffer instead of cannonballing into the deep end. 5 minutes of quiet, maybe some deep breaths by the window with the birds chirping, a slow stretch on the porch to loosen his hips and back. Tom started sitting with a cup of tea. No phone, no mental to-do list ticking away, just letting his mind and body warm up slow. Days later, he was tackling his chores with juice to spare, no crankiness in sight, and his wife even said he seemed less grumpy. High praise from her. Next time you wake up itching to dive into the grind, hit pause. Give yourself a beat to breathe, stretch, settle in. Maybe stand by the door, take 10 slow breaths, roll your neck a bit. Watch how it steadies your whole day, keeps you cool instead of cooked before you've even started. Let's pivot to something you might not peg as a big deal until it bites you later. Skipping breakfast, or grabbing junk instead. You roll out of bed, maybe not hungry right off the bat, so you skip it altogether, thinking, "I'll eat when I feel like it." Or you snag something quick and easy, a donut from the counter, a leftover cookie from the grandkids' visit, a sugary muffin because it's sitting there. After 70, blowing off breakfast or fueling up with nothing but sugar bombs can tank your blood sugar fast, leaving you sluggish and foggy, and miss a golden chance to feed your muscles, your brain, your whole system what it needs to stay sharp and strong. Your metabolism's not the speed demon it was at 40. Without a solid start, you're setting yourself up to crash, overeat later to make up for it, or feel like your head's in a haze all morning. Take Linda, 73, a woman who'd mastered the art of skipping breakfast, figured her coffee was plenty, or if she got peckish, she'd grab a pastry from the bakery down the street. By 10 a.m., she'd be starving, raiding the fridge for anything in sight, and her energy was a wild ride. Up for an hour, down hard, crashed out by noon. She thought it was just how she rolled now, but her nutritionist saw it different. Linda, you're starving your body when it's begging for fuel. Give it something real. The fix wasn't complicated, a quick, balanced bite to kick things off. Think oatmeal with a handful of berries, a scrambled egg on toast, a smoothie with some yogurt and protein powder, nothing fancy, just solid. Linda started blending up yogurt, a banana, some frozen berries, and a scoop of nuts. 5 minutes, no mess. Soon her mornings were steady as a rock, no hunger pangs, no crashes, and she felt sharper than she had in years, even tackling her crossword puzzles with a clearer head. Tomorrow, don't skip out. Whip up something small but real. Maybe toast with avocado, a hard-boiled egg you prepped last night, a yogurt cup with a sprinkle of granola. Feel how it carries you further, keeps you humming instead of hitting the wall. It's like giving your body a high five first thing. Last one's a morning trap that's so easy to fall into, you might not even see it as trouble. Staring at screens right out of the gate. You wake up, grab your phone off the nightstand or flip on the TV, scrolling through news alerts, checking texts from the kids, watching the talking heads argue about politics or the weather. It feels like staying in the loop, keeping up with the world. But after 70, that instant screen blast can hit you harder than you'd think, spiking your stress, straining your eyes, throwing your brain into high gear before it's had a chance to stretch its legs. That blue light slams into your retinas when they're still adjusting, and the flood of info, doom and gloom headlines, pinging notifications, emails demanding replies, can jack up your cortisol levels, leaving you tense and wired instead of tuned in and ready. Picture Ed, 76, a guy who'd turned his morning screen time into a ritual, tablet in hand, scrolling headlines about storms and stocks, answering emails from his golf buddies, catching the market ticker before his feet even hit the floor. By 9 a.m., his head was pounding, his shoulders were knotted up, and he'd feel on edge all day, like he'd already run a mental marathon before breakfast. His wife nudged him to see a doc, who didn't mince words. Ed, you're frying your brain first thing, give it a break. The fix was straightforward. Screen-free mornings at least for the first 30 minutes. Ed swapped scrolling for sitting on his deck, listening to the birds chirp, sipping his tea in peace, maybe flipping through a real paper book instead of a digital one. Weeks in, his eyes felt fresher, his mood lifted off the bat, and he tackled his day calm and collected, instead of wound up like a spring. Try it tomorrow. Leave the phone face down, let the TV sleep a bit longer. Step outside for a breath of air, listen to the quiet, maybe chat with your dog instead of your newsfeed. Feel how it resets your start, keeps you grounded instead of buzzing. It's a game changer you'll wish you'd tried sooner. These 5 habits: coffee on empty, sitting too long, jumping into stress, skipping breakfast, screen overload. They're sneaky little traps because they feel so normal, so baked into your routine that you might not even question them. They've been your morning crew for years, maybe decades, and they've worked. Until now. After 70, they can start nibbling away at your health, your energy, your whole vibe, in ways that add up slow but hit hard. Flip them with these fixes. Water before coffee, a little movement before you sit, a calm buffer before the chaos, a solid bite instead of junk, screen-free peace to start. And you're not just scraping by your mornings, you're owning them like a pro. Your body's still got your back. It's carried you this far, through thick and thin. Tweak these little moments and watch it thank you with more pep, more ease, more of that good stuff that keeps you rolling strong. If you're still here soaking up these tips, Drop a 2 in the comments. What's one habit you're rethinking after this, or a fix you're excited to try? Spill it below. Your story might spark someone else's morning glow up. Loving this chat? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Let's keep this convo rocking. Catch you in the comments.